This is the Great Expanse by JohnBat426 here on YouTube. It's so good to come before you guys and to record these videos, to edit them as the best I can. Maybe one day I'll have a editor edit the videos for me. Put my spin on them, even though this is the multiple spin zone, unlike Bill O'Reilly on the O'Reilly Factor. No shout out to anything Fox related. Not because I'm a leftist or a rightist. I hate everyone. No, I'm kidding. I don't hate everyone, but I am not on a fence politically. Especially in this American political system. Why am I going this way? Because I want to go this way. So let's detour and go back to The Great Expanse by JohnBat426. If you've liked the videos that you've seen thus far, hit the like button. Share these videos with other people that you know that like comic book related stuff as much as you do. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell for notifications. All. Not personalized or the one underneath, but all. So the next time a new videos drop, you'll know about it second. I'll know about it voice. Y'all know him. Who is that? The One Breath Champ. Woo! So, I said all that to say this. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate every subscriber that subscribes to the channel. Okay? Not a lot of vocabulary in that last sentence, but I'm glad you guys are here. And I'm glad for our rate of growth, whatever it is. Hopefully we can sort of shake things up, sort of find our niche, and then really explode onto the internet. Okay? So that the YouTube algorithm can see that we have traffic coming in, traffic going out. And The Great Expanse by JohnBat426 here on YouTube is indeed living up to its name and expanding. But this is The Flash spoiler review. If you have not seen the movie The Flash, you have 3 seconds to get away from this video. 3, 2, 1, go. Spoilers are starting right now. The Flash movie started off, and this is my reaction, okay? I've only seen it once. Maybe I want to see it again, so I can give you a more informed sort of retort of the film. But this is my reaction. The film started off very annoying to me, okay? The movie started off, I wasn't into it at all. There's a huge catastrophe at, I think, Gotham General Hospital, even though that is a soap opera General Hospital, but the hospital, Gotham General. There's a huge sinkhole that isn't super villain related like it is in the trailer. You know, in the trailer it looks like the end of the world is coming. With, you know, this sinkhole opening and things falling. It turns out to be like a huge, big, blustery special effects event. Alright? And maybe this is what people are complaining about the CGI being off. Okay, maybe it wasn't, maybe it didn't look real, but I didn't really care, to be honest. To be totally honest, no, I didn't care. And basically, the front of the hospital is sinking into the sinkhole, all right? And on the only the nursery wing, for some reason, where all these babies are, becomes unlevel, and all the babies and the nurse fall out of the hospital, which is like a skyscraper. It's like a skyscraper hospital. So, a la Quicksilver in Days of Future Past, a la Quicksilver in X-Men Apocalypse, the Flash basically has to find a way to save these children, these babies just born, and this nurse. It's done in a comedic sense. It's lighthearted, even though it's like dire. You know, it's like their babies fall. So like, it's like how much more serious can a rescue be? Newborn babies falling out of a building. So it's like the stakes are huge, but it's done in a almost like it's like a frolic. You know what I mean? It's like a cat playing with a ball of yarn. So the Flash has to basically find a way to stabilize himself, and he's doing all this like in a tenth of a second. So this makes him like super OP. Okay. So again, he can't just catch the babies because they'll splatter in his hands because they're falling against the rate of gravity. So he finds a way. He puts one baby in like a rotisserie oven or a microwave. Obviously, it's not on. And it's real laughable. It's slapstick. So I'm like... So I'm sitting there in the theaters like, okay, this isn't what I signed up for. And the part in, I think, the final trailer where he's about to take off, he's like getting ready. And then the girls are like, oh, Flash, we love you so much. That didn't help. As far as my attitude towards the movie, the beginning of the movie. I'm just like, I see why people don't like this movie. I'm thinking that in the first 5 minutes. I'm like, I see why people don't like this. So, and one part that I really liked from the trailers was Ben Affleck on the Bat Pod or the Bat Cycle, dodging cars. I'm thinking this has something to do with the World Engine that Zod, spoiler, you should know that from the trailer, that Zod is attacking Earth in this parallel universe that the Flash created because of Flashpoint. And it has nothing to do with Zod at all. He's chasing Falcone's men. He said Falcone's son. So it could be Mario Falcone. Maybe it's Alberto Falcone. Who knows? It's just very general. I am glad that they gave a name to these people that are causing this havoc. That Batman has nothing to do with. That has nothing to do with the Zod attack, okay? Because Batman has too many rich characters for you to just say, oh, bad guys are doing something, and you don't give a name to it. The suit that Ben Affleck's Batman is wearing, when you see it and it's not in CG, it looks overbearing, the suit. It looks funny. Because at the end of the car crash, he saves one of the Falcones, and he stops the virus from dropping into the Gotham River with help from Wonder Woman. I didn't know Gal Gadot was going to be in this. She uses the lasso of truth to catch both Bruce and the Falcone. The lasso of truth ignites, and it's a little comical because Batman's talking about why he does these things because of kind of the Justice League gag, the Joss Whedon version, where the lasso of truth was on Aquaman and he's like telling the truth. That was kind of funny, but okay, and I'm gonna nitpick right here. Why is Gal Gadot smiling the whole time? She's on screen for maybe a minute, and the whole time she just, well, this. I was like, are you modeling? Are you on a runway? It was like, where's Wonder Woman? Where's the warrior? Where's the Amazonian princess? Again, that's a nitpick because Gal Gadot is smiling the whole time in her Wonder Woman outfit. Just a nitpick, all right? So then they're on the bridge. Flash, Batman, and Wonder Woman, they're having a little powwow, basically summing up the two events that happened at the same time, simultaneously. And they look goofy, just standing there in uniform in broad day. I don't know why. To me, it just looked goofy. So the beginning of this movie, and then Flash is a bumbling idiot, Barry Allen. That's one thing I do not like about Ezra Miller's portrayal of Barry Allen. He's like uncertain. He's like, all this stuttering. He doesn't give a single line of dialogue without, that annoyed me. Again, maybe just a nitpick or something, but he's annoying. He's annoying. Iris West comes. She's half smiling every time she's delivering dialogue, but and it's stupid to me. I'm like, this sucks. In the beginning, I'm like, this movie stinks. And that's not a good way to start a movie. Accidentally goes back in time. And I like the way that the time travel is done. Because it's bizarre, it's wacky. It shouldn't be normal. So as he's in the Speed Force, basically, traveling through time, and he can kind of like look into like reality. And so he tells Bruce Wayne, he said, I time traveled. He said before, and he's alluding to the Zack Snyder Justice League when he saved he saved the Earth. There's an allusion to it. There's not a direct reference, okay? But no, he did talk about wherever they were in Russia. I don't remember the name of the place. So there is a reference to Zack Snyder's Justice League. He said before it was just a couple of seconds, I think he said. He said, but this time I went back an entire day. And he tells Bruce about it. He said, I can fix things. I can change things. And you see this in the trailer. He said, I can go back and save them. Because his father is on trial. There's an appeal because his father is innocent in his eyes. And he's been fighting this appeal for about 20 years, because he's been in jail for the murder of his wife, Nora Allen. So let me focus on Nora Allen real fast. Lovely actress. They race swapped her, which nobody really cares about because it's only Flash's mom. Is well done. It's not like heavy-handed, like, this is inclusion. You know what I mean? This is diversity. I mean, she is listening to Latin music because she's Latino. It feels right. It doesn't feel like it's charity. But hey, let's get a Latino in here. It feels great. Okay, and I love Latin music anyway. So basically, Barry says, and I'm skipping. I'm not going point for point. But Barry says, if I just change one thing about the past, just one thing, maybe. Because it never tells you how she gets killed. You just see a knife in her chest, and from the trailer, her dad like, Barry, call 911 now. Okay, he doesn't go back in time and see who does this. We never know. So it's almost like a Joe Chill situation. We don't really know who how this happened. So he goes back in time, he changes the one thing, and his mom is saved. Now, when he goes back, when he goes back home, he's in an alternate time period. When he returns to what he thinks is like the regular world after his mom is saved, it's actually 10 years ago. So that's when he runs into a 10 years younger Barry. You know, when he like pushes him up against the house, he's like, my face? You stole my face. Long-haired Ezra and regular Ezra, both Barry Allens, I like their chemistry. And there's only one actor doing it, so I think that's great acting by Ezra. Even though they both have the same tics, it kind of works when they're feeding off of each other. You understand what I'm saying? It works when they're feeding off each other, but when it's like a serious situation and he's around other people, like fellow researchers, I think Petty, Spivot, and these other people, he just feels like he has like some kind of like mental disorder. I hate that Barry Allen. Almost said Barry Miller. When he travels back in time, the process of time travel, he sees like a ghostly apparition, a wraith, that's sort of like chasing him as he's going through the time through the Speed Force. Okay, and I thought that was pretty interesting. It looked very monstrous or whatever. It reminded me of the CW, the what do you call it, Wraiths or Reapers, whatever they're called. And I'm thinking, okay, because he's messing with time, almost like Father's Day from Doctor Who, those monsters that just came out of nowhere because time had been altered. So I dig this. I'm like, okay, so there's an antagonist. That's the real antagonist. You know, Zod is just an effect of realities clashing. When he goes back, it's the day he becomes the Flash. Because he's like, wait, the storm. He said, what day is it? He said, September 29th. He said, that's the day I become the Flash. Okay? And I thought that was interesting that they incorporated his origins into it. I thought that was well done. Somehow he winds up without powers. And younger Barry winds up with powers. So younger, long-haired Barry has powers. Current continuity Barry does not have Flash powers. So all these times I'm watching the trailer and they're showing like them breaking into the facility to rescue Supergirl, it's the younger, long-haired Barry that's in the Flash suit. I thought that was a nice twist. Okay. So when current continuity Barry tries to run, he's basically just doing this. He's like running in a circle inside of this, was it a library or some building there, and they're in the lobby. It's funny. That part is actually funny. He's like, I had a kick out of that. That was funny. So younger Barry says, wait, I got powers. So of course he does what anybody else would do when they have super speed. He runs. But his clothes aren't friction proof. They burn off. So he's like naked in the middle of Central City or something. So he comes back. And that part is actually funny. As I said, Ezra feeding off Ezra works. He teaches him about phasing. So young Ezra can phase with these powers. Fast forward, Zod arrives. And current continuity Barry says, wait a minute, I created a world without metahumans. So there's no Superman, there's no Wonder Woman, there's no Aquaman. They called Thomas Curry, Arthur Curry's father. Thomas Curry is married to somebody else. He's not Aquaman's dad. And it's actually Tamora Morrison playing him. I thought that was pretty funny. So current continuity Barry says, wait a minute, Batman is in this universe? They're like, yeah, but nobody knows who he is. But he knows because he's Bruce Wayne. So they go to Wayne Manor and, ghastly, gaunt, Wayne Manor. It is Michael Keaton with a wig, but it works. It actually worked. Sort of Howard Hughes-esque, kind of unkempt. There's no Alfred, unfortunately. Michael Keaton's Batman, Bruce Wayne, explains what happened when he broke the time barrier. He says, when you change course, he said, not only did you alter the future, but you alter the past. So that's why Batman is different. That's why he's not Ben Affleck, that's why he's Michael Keaton. And he says, basically, instead of just one spaghetti noodle being broke, he says, eventually there's a collapse where we get the multiverse. It's like a whole pot of noodles, of spaghetti noodles. And the way it's done is explained very well. There's all these universes just roiling around, and eventually there is a connection between all of them. And that's where we get the multiverse. In current continuity, Barry explains to Bruce that he has to get back to his current reality because he made the mistake of going back in time and saving his mom. And he didn't want younger Barry to know this, but younger Barry heard because he was on a different level of the Batcave, like right beneath the platform they were on. That's when we see the 1989 Batmobile. He switches the lights on. There's tarps everywhere because the Batcave obviously hadn't been used in forever. So current continuity Barry is trying to figure out if there are any asteroid impacts in the last 20 years, because he's looking for Superman. Okay. So then he tells Bruce this, and Bruce winds up with the information. He gives him like a little dossier. He opens it, and it happened in Russia. Superman crashed in Russia. So it's almost kind of a reference to Red Sun, where, you know, the alternate reality Superman, where he landed in Russia instead of the United States. And they infiltrate the facility. You know, it's Kara. When she's like weakened, she's held in this dark cell. A lot of great action in this sequence when they're rescuing Supergirl. And of course, she goes ballistic, you know, like she does in the trailer. So she's exposed to the sun. So this gives her power. She's throwing people around, killing everybody, or whatever. So they all return to Wayne Manor. Supergirl, the Barrys, and Batman. So current continuity Barry says, I have got to get my powers back so I can go back and erase all this. You know, with Zod coming and there being like the only metahuman being Supergirl. So he sets up the experiment to become the Flash again, to summon the Speed Force with a conductor. All right, it's in the shape of a bat for some reason. Okay. And the industrial chemicals are, it's just like in the animated feature where he tried to get his powers back in the Batcave. He does it twice, he gets burned, he gets electrocuted. It doesn't work. So that was good. Younger Barry's like, I'm tired of people dying. Because he thinks, you know, current continuity Barry is dead. Then Supergirl arrives in the Batcave. She flies him up into the upper atmosphere. They get struck by lightning. Barry heals, and they're ready to go. They're ready to stop Zod, because Zod gave his message, you know, for reasons unknown. You know, we're looking for somebody that landed here. So she says, I'll help you fight Zod. Well, she tries to fight Zod by herself, but it doesn't work. Okay, so then she comes back to the Batcave. So when they go to fight Zod, you know, want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. So Batman, the Barrys, and Supergirl go to fight Zod. They lose. Okay? Batman gets killed because he crashes his ship into one of the Kryptonian vessels, Zod's Kryptonian vessels. Supergirl gets murdered by Zod. He stabs her right in her chest and then takes a sample of her blood to get the codex out of her bloodstream so that he can create Krypton here on Earth. They lose. So younger Barry says, I'm sick and tired of people losing. I'm tired of losing people. No, he and Barry go into the Speed Force. They go back in time. But she keeps dying. It's just like the Time Machine, where the novel, The Time Machine, where the guy loses his wife, I believe, or a family member of some sort. He goes back in time. He keeps ruining things, and she keeps dying in every version of reality. So they keep dying. Supergirl keeps dying, okay? The more times younger Barry goes back in time, he winds up stabbed by pieces of the Kryptonian ship. Okay, because the Giant is there from Man of Steel. Faora is there from Man of Steel, okay? So eventually it came to me like, okay, so the Wraith that was chasing current continuity Barry through the Speed Force is the younger Barry just repeatedly going back in time. So he's like scarred, he's like hideously deformed from God knows how many times he went back to save Supergirl, but he never saves her. That's the paradox of time, okay? It's meant to happen that she's meant to die here. So eventually, current continuity Barry tells younger Barry, he says, sometimes the only solution is to let go, to stop this. Stop going back in time to try and save her. So eventually they stop, okay? That's when Michael Keaton's Batman dies, and he says, I can bring you back. And Michael Keaton says, you already brought Batman back. And then he dies, because he hung up the cape and cowl, okay? And then, you know, Michael Keaton's Batman dies, okay? And he says, don't come back for me, basically. Supergirl dies, okay? And then the Barrys are in the Speed Force because they cannot stop Zod. They can't stop this. So then current continuity Barry and younger Barry talk to Wraith Barry that's trying to stop current continuity Flash from stopping him from going back in time to save Supergirl, okay? So it's a paradox, okay? It's the Flashpoint paradox. So eventually, Wraith Barry tries to kill current continuity Barry, and younger Barry sacrifices himself, thus killing him, younger, long-haired Barry, and the Wraith, because of the paradox. You follow me? So younger Barry is Wraith Barry. So with younger Barry sacrificing himself, letting go, like his mom said, you know, the best solution is sometimes to just let go. He sacrifices himself, Remember, he said he didn't want anybody else to die, so he dies. Wraith Barry dissipates as well. So then, current continuity Barry goes back in time to set things right. He has to go back to the past where he messed things up by saving Mom, and he has to let go of it. I never come to grips with that, personally. I'm like, that's always sad to me that he has to let his mom die. So then, kind of a funny scene, he went to a supermarket to change time. This is very emotional, it's very weighty, it's very worthy of the movie. As I said, the opening sucked to me. The opening was garbage to me. But the stakes are high in this, the paradox is real. It's about Barry Allen, and this is what I love about superhero movies, that they're about the hero. The hero's journey is the crux, it's the meat of the story. Pause. It's the substance of the story. And the bad guys are just there to help supplement the character arc of the hero. This is the best kind of superhero movie to me. Wanky though at times, because Ezra Miller's acting, I don't like the acting choices of him being this bumbling doofus. I didn't like the acting of Iris West, or the young lady that plays Iris West. It was like puppy love. It was like two middle schoolers like running into each other. It was silly, goofy. I could have done away with it. But it's great. And that he has to let his mom die. It's very heartfelt. He encounters her, but he's dressed up. And again, remember, he was a kid when she was killed. So him coming back in as an adult, she kind of looks at him and she's like, but thank God they didn't go, you look just like my son would in 20 years. Thank God they didn't do that. But she just looked and she's like, all right, let your mom know that you love her and all that other stuff or whatever. So he hugs her, and it's so emotional. It almost got me. Because I was like, wow, this is really great. So he saves time. Everything's restored. His father gets off. This is the problem, okay, with the appeals for his father. His alibi was he was at the store at the time, but he never looked up at the camera and they could never see his face. So Ezra Miller, basically, when he went back in time, say goodbye to his mom and restore all reality, he kind of takes his father's place. He looks up, and Bruce Wayne uses tech that implants Barry's father's face onto Ezra's face. So the footage looks like, hey, that's Henry Allen. He didn't kill his wife. So his father gets off, okay? And basically, that's the end of the movie, okay? Hilariously. Now remember, the multiverse is still in flux, okay? Because he changed things, okay? At the end of the movie, Bruce Wayne calls when he gets out of the courthouse. He's like, yeah, I'm on my way to you. Out of the car steps George Clooney. That was so funny to me. I was laughing the rest of the time. I'm like, George Clooney showed up in this. And he looked great as Bruce Wayne. And it was just, it was so funny. Like Barry doesn't even have any final words because, Batman, Bruce Wayne changed again. Because the flux of time, the paradox is still in effect. That was the movie. And again, it was tough kind of recalling everything because I didn't record it right after I watched the movie. Because I went out to eat afterwards. That's what we do. You know how we do it, all right? So, again, wanky opening. I don't like Ezra Miller's acting choices for Barry Allen. It only works when he's feeding off of himself. Pause. All right. But the action is great. People talk about the CGI, which is so terrible. Maybe. When he goes back in the Speed Force, obviously things look a little cartoony, the characters. But I'm like, maybe this is just a distortion of time. It's not really a reality. So that didn't torpedo the movie for me. But that's when you see a lot of the older characters. You see Helen Slater, you see Christopher Reeve, you see Nicolas Cage's Superman, because he was supposed to be in a Superman movie. So I thought that was pretty cool that they kind of incorporated that into it. You see Adam West, you hear the Joker laugh. You don't really see many other Batmen. You know what I mean? And I thought Brandon Routh was going to be in this, but I don't remember seeing him. Okay. But you see, Henry Cavill, you see Aquaman, you see Wonder Woman. So this was a great movie because it was about the Flash. Okay. The antagonists, Wraith Barry and Zod, are just secondary characters, like they should be in any comic book movie. The main hero, the superhero, should always be the focus. Okay. It's done very well in this one because it's about Barry's character arc, his development. All right. Again, I did not like the acting of Iris West, but that didn't make the movie bad. It just made the opening bad to me. The action was great, especially, again, the best action to me is when they infiltrate the facility in Russia to free Kara Zor-El. Okay, they thought they were freeing Kal-El, and Zod tells Kara, "We intercepted the ship that baby Clark Kal-El was in." He said, "and the infant didn't survive." So Superman died. Okay, so when Zod opened the ship, I guess the baby died, or maybe just killed the baby. Looking for, I know that sounds awful. Maybe he just killed the baby to get, his genetics for the Codex, okay, to create new Krypton. So grade-wise, I'm going to give this movie an A-. I mean, and that might seem a little hypocritical. It's like, wait a minute, The Great Expanse by John Bat 426. You said the opening was terrible and you hated it. Yeah, I did. But the substance of the movie really does what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to really push the narrative forward. Like the story always goes forward. I don't feel like there's any unnecessary scenes except for the bad acting. That's the only thing I didn't like. But Ben Affleck was great in this. Michael Keaton was great in this. Again, I'm still laughing about George Clooney showing up at the end. That was hilarious to me. But do I understand why The Flash bombed at the box office? Maybe the tone. Because at times the tone is just like Pineapple Express, seems like. That was my take on the Flash movie. Again, not my best review because I couldn't remember everything, so I apologize for that. But if you've liked my input on the Flash movie, if you disagree or vehemently agree, please leave a comment. Write a dissertation in the comment section if necessary. All right, I would greatly appreciate that. David Brent, please let them know where their comments or their dissertations, if necessary, go, sir. Are you pointing? Both fingers, right? You still got it, Dave. Do your part, I'll do my part. So the Great Expanse by John Bat 426 can and will expand. It's in the name. I don't know why this tanked at the box office, but you can't make people like what you like. You can't ever expect anybody to have the same morality or the same ethics as you. All right. So I give the movie a thumbs up. I give it an A. See The Flash for yourself. Come up with your own assessment.